journalists, what do you think about the coverage of Burma in the Western media? Because I'm struck by the bit towards the end where you're talking about the sort of the crushing of the Karen rebellion, which, I mean, there's been essentially civil war response to Burma for a large part of the last few decades, and yet that hasn't really filtered through to expose us in the West. Obviously, it's very difficult to film in Burma, as we've seen, but how do you comment that?
Yeah, I mean, one of the stories I did before was not because of me, but just because Channel 4 supported it, was actually going in with the Karen to film inside Burma with the resistance, and went in for 6 weeks into the jungle and we did the whole thing. I can say, without giving away too much, that Channel 4 is doing something else right now on that particular issue. And I think somebody like places like The Guardian and The Independent do try. And it's a long way from Britain, you know, so it's hard to sort of justify too much coverage of it. But, you know, I think it's exactly your point. I think people need to realise that, you know, there's a little bit more to Burma than just a far-flung place that doesn't mean anything. I mean, I'm amazed actually in Britain, given the historical connections with Burma, that there's not more made of it actually. I think it plays an important part. I mean, certainly they all look at Britain with great affection. You know, there's whole generations of young people who don't speak English anymore because of military rule, but their fathers and their parents, their mothers, speak wonderful English and remember and all wanted to come to Oxford. Some of them did, you know, and they're a highly motivated, a highly educated population. They can work hard, they want to be, you know, they can get it, you know, and yet they're just being held back. But Britain doesn't seem to hold them with the same affection.
Are there any final questions?
I can just say, I mean, I was born in Burma, and I've been back a few times, my wife here. And what you say there is absolutely true. They hold the British in enormous affection. When we wander around, we keep clinging on to my wife, especially the older people, they all come to practice their English.
Yeah.
They think, the younger people think she looks like Princess Diana.
Yeah.
And I think the policy that Britain and America, and actually the EU following it, towards Burma has been atrocious. Sanctions don't work. All we've done is we've alienated the country completely, so the Chinese have walked in. And you can't blame the regime for therefore going to the Chinese and the North Koreans and the Russians, because, you know, they're holding out an olive branch. But I think it's been atrocious the way we've let it slip, the way you're suggesting. It's interesting what you're saying there, that you're implying that once the Americans realise there are actually resources there, they'll take a different view, you know. And yeah, it's really it's very sad. It's very sad that the country's been allowed to. And I actually have, through a cousin of mine, a relationship with a chap that was the foreign minister of Burma before they lost the election in 1990 to Aung San Suu Kyi, it's called. And he was a pallbearer at Mountbatten's funeral, and he thinks the British are marvellous and wonderful. They just have such a warm feeling towards the British, and we really, well, because I'm a British, missed a trick in the last few years. I think to the detriment of the Western world, but also to the detriment of Burma.
I agree. Yeah. The sanctions question is an interesting one. I mean, the opposition groups all support sanctions. It's isolated the Burmese regime, but I think we've seen recently the US State Department for the first time had a reasonably high-level meeting there. I think they've realised you've got to engage. I personally am not sure what the answer is in terms of sanctions. I think they can be useful to a degree too, but you've got to engage as well. You know, and otherwise, you're right. You're just being driven to into the arms of North Korea, China, and Russia increasingly.
We had a discussion right here earlier today. Some of you may have been here where the sanctions question.
It was here at 4 o'clock. Yeah. I thought that they talked in all the sense that actually there, because a lot of people don't talk in those terms. A lot of people think because it's a nasty regime, you've got to have sanctions. But actually, you've got to think, what are you trying to achieve? And for the ordinary Burmese people, they would love to see, you know, foreigners from Britain and Europe as tourists, as companies working within the country. Because when you're in the country, you can influence. If you're standing on the sidelines and basically alienating the country, you can't really influence what goes on. So, you don't have to agree with it.
Do you think that by doing that you do actually, because of the structure there, that you do help support and prolong the life of the military regime?
Well, to be quite honest, by not doing that, the impact that Britain's actions and America over the last 20 years hasn't dented the regime. So by taking a different, more conciliatory attitude towards them and being able to influence from within, can only, in my opinion, be better. Because you can influence people when you're there, but you can't when you're not there. And instead they're going to the Chinese. Somebody said this afternoon earlier, they said, it's too late now. And maybe it is. And maybe it is too late. Maybe they've gone, they're part of the North Korea, China, Russia axis. And I hope not, because Burma is a wonderful country and it's got a lot of resources and it's got lovely people and it's got very capable people as well. Give them half a chance and they would love to be part of the community. They want internet and McDonald's and BMWs and Starbucks like the rest of us,
not the Starbucks. Draw the line there.
Yeah, absolutely.
If there are no further questions, I'd like to thank Jeremy and Heather both very much for giving up their time this evening. I really found it interesting. And thank you very much for coming along as well.
Thank you.